Okay, let's go back to that. You mentioned the Green Movement, which is not known as, the protest is known as Green Movement in Iran at the moment. It seems that this movement consciously against violence, despite the fact that it's facing state violence. As a human scientist, how do you define this? Is it a new phenomenon? Do you think people like yourself need to sit down and study it and then come up with some sort of a name or a definition for it?
Well, the use of the term, the metaphor, velvet, is, I think, very significant, and it shows that actually the current Iranian events, this tremendous capacity of millions of people to restrain themselves, not to use violence, in contrast to 1979, that this is part of a bigger trend. I have written several books and have long had an interest in the subject of violence. I think there is a watershed, roughly, after 1945. It was the experience globally of barbed wire, of mustard gas, of aerial bombardment of the concentration camps that repelled growing numbers of people from the use of ultra-modern weaponry and violence and the terror that can come from their use. And I would say that, including the 1989 revolutions, for example in Czechoslovakia, Poland, Hungary, that I would say that the Iranian events are a 21st century example of this learning process. The rule is simple. Those who use violence against their enemies are likely to use it against their friends. And remarkably, the poisoning of society in Iran, the use of disappearance, the use of torture, selective assassination of intellectuals that happened during the past decade. I mean, I think large numbers of Iranians have come to see, partly for reasons of faith, that actually violence, the infliction of pain and suffering on the body of another, that violence is incompatible with civility, with being faithful, and it's certainly incompatible with a system of open power sharing, accountability. Can
we conclude that basically the revolution, in the classical sense of a term, like many other revolutions that happened, violent revolutions, actually ended in 1979 with the Iranian Revolution? So we are in a completely different era.
It's a bold and interesting claim, and I think that the neologism that was has subsequently been used, revolution. I mean, this push for reform and revolution, I mean, has some purchase to it. It's a term, however clumsy and unfamiliar, to describe this sense that the powerless have the ability to undermine the powerful, that they have the ability to cause fright among the powerful, and they can change things through simple, everyday actions, having a conversation with a friend, a cup of coffee, going to hear at a public meeting someone discuss some matter of public concern, changes in language, changes within the family. These are all reforms, changes in daily life that can have very big effects. And the trouble with violence is that it generates enemies, it causes great pain and suffering, and most dangerous of all, those who win power through use of violence are, the history shows, for example, in the English Revolution of the 1640s, the French Revolution of 1789, and many others subsequently, 1917 and so on, that although there are some exceptions, very few, the chances are that those who use violence against their enemies will replicate that violence against their friends. And I think large numbers of Iranians, shown in this remarkable turnout at elections, showed a very clear understanding of that principle. It's very encouraging, I have to say.
Right. Going back to mentioning your name and accusing you of the Velvet Revolution, how have you responded? I mean, do you, because you say in the response that you've written that it is some sort of libelous and may merit some sort of a legal action. Are you planning to take any action?
It may well, and I have certainly sought legal advice. I have to say that when I first heard the news, I was incredulous, and I laughed, the belly laugh that I mentioned at the beginning of our discussion. I came quickly to see that, hence the tears, that this is a serious matter. And for this reason, I began to ponder the problem of a reply. At first, my worry was that any reply would be used as a weapon against those accused. I mean, when power hallucinates, which has been happening at the very top in the Iranian regime, when power hallucinates, as on some drug, anything is possible. So I restrained myself. It came to the point where so manifestly absurd were the allegations and inspired by the sense of resistance that continues, that I went public, and I have made a statement, a fair, true statement of events, my non-involvement with CIA, MI6, and trying to explain the significance of this. There's a Farsi translation, and it has already gone through the World Wide Web.
Professor John Keane, thank you very much for being the guest of bbcpersian3. Thank you very much.